Welcome to Innovation Pulse, your quick, no-nonsense update on the latest in clean tech and EVs. First, we will cover the latest news. Tropical forests are vanishing rapidly due to fires, while BYD's aggressive pricing is shaking up China's new energy vehicle market. After this, we'll dive deep into the revolutionary cooling technologies transforming the $235 billion cooling market. Last year, the world's tropical forests, vital for combating climate change, were destroyed at an unprecedented rate. Satellite data reveals 67,000 square kilometers of old-growth forest vanished, equivalent to 18 football fields per minute. Fires fueled by severe droughts surpassed agricultural land clearance as the main cause, with the Amazon particularly hard hit. Professor Matthew Hansen warns of a potential tipping point, where these forests might irreversibly transform into savanna. In contrast, Southeast Asia showed progress due to stringent no-burning policies. The Amazon's fires released 3.1 billion tons of CO2, comparable to EU emissions. The upcoming COP30th summit will focus on forest preservation strategies, including financial incentives for countries maintaining forest cover. Consistent protection policies are crucial for long-term success in curbing forest loss and protecting the climate. BYD, a leading player in China's new energy vehicle market, has ignited a price war by slashing car prices by up to 34%. This move affects 22 electric and plug-in hybrid models until the end of June, shaking the domestic industry and impacting stock values. The price reduction aims to boost sales and is expected to pressure BYD's vehicle margins. But larger sales volumes and low battery costs may offset this. Analysts predict a prolonged price war might force competitors to lower prices or lose market share. Meanwhile, foreign manufacturers like Volkswagen and Tesla face challenges in China due to their unwillingness to match these price cuts. Concerns also arise over the sale of zero-mileage used cars, which clouds true sales figures. Despite uncertainties, BYD's strategy may be a calculated move to strengthen its market position and capitalize on the evolving auto industry landscape. And now, pivot our discussion towards the main clean tech topic.
All right, everybody, welcome to another deep dive on Innovation Pulse. I'm Donna, and as always, I've got my co-host Yakov with me. We're diving into something that's literally getting hotter by the day, and I mean that quite literally.
Hey everyone, Yakov here. And Donna, you're absolutely right about things heating up. Today we're talking about cooling technologies, which might sound boring until you realize we're looking at a complete revolution in how we keep things cold. We're talking about ditching the refrigerants that have dominated cooling for decades.
Okay, lay it on me. When you say revolution, what exactly are we talking about here?
So picture this. We've got cities like Delhi, where even commuting by car is becoming unbearable in certain months. Outdoor workers are literally struggling to earn their livelihoods because of the heat. The cooling market is already worth $235 billion annually, and Morgan Stanley predicts that growth rate could more than double by 2030.
That's massive growth, but I'm guessing our current cooling systems aren't exactly up to the challenge, right?
Exactly. Here's the problem. Most of our air conditioners today use something called hydrofluorocarbons, or HFCs, as refrigerants. These synthetic gases are incredibly potent greenhouse gases, way worse than carbon dioxide. Plus, they leak from systems all the time, which hurts efficiency and can be a health hazard.
So we need better refrigerants. What about the alternatives?
Well, that's where it gets tricky. Propane is highly flammable, not exactly what you want in your bedroom AC unit. Ammonia is toxic. Carbon dioxide works, but only at really high pressures, so you need specialized equipment. Each option comes with its own set of problems.
Sounds like we need to think completely outside the box. That's where the revolution comes in?
Bingo! Scientists are developing what they call solid-state cooling, devices that don't need liquid refrigerants at all. Instead, they use solid materials and apply some kind of force to create temperature changes. We're talking about pressure, voltage, magnets, or mechanical stress.
Magnets for cooling? That sounds like science fiction. How does that actually work?
It's called magnetocaloric cooling, and it's actually pretty elegant. There's this German company called Magnotherm that's figured out how to use certain materials that literally change temperature when you expose them to magnetic fields. Their CEO, Timur Serman, points out that it's inherently safe because you're working with metals at low pressures, no toxic chemicals involved.
That's fascinating, but I'm guessing there's a catch, right?
The permanent magnets are expensive. That's the big hurdle right now. But here's the thing. They never break, so you can reuse them indefinitely. Magnotherm has built about 40 beverage coolers and 5 refrigerators so far, all manually and in-house. They're targeting early adopters who look beyond just the initial cost.
So magnets are one approach. What other solid-state technologies are we seeing?
Thermoelectric cooling is another big one. This is where you move heat between two sides of a device using electrical energy. There's a US company called Phononic that's actually gotten millions of their devices into data centers and supermarkets. Their CEO, Tony Addy, describes their chips as really thin and small, but they get incredibly cold and pack a serious punch.
What makes thermoelectric different from traditional systems?
Traditional fridges need to run constantly to work at their best, but thermoelectric devices can be switched on and off easily, which reduces costs, energy use, and space requirements. Plus, they operate completely silently because there are zero moving parts. Compare that to conventional systems with all their pumps, condensers, and expanders making noise.
Silent cooling sounds amazing for residential use. Are there other solid-state approaches?
There's a third type called elasticaloric cooling that uses mechanical stress on special materials. European researchers are collaborating on something called SMAcool, which uses metal tubes made from specific metallic alloys. When you apply stress to these elasticaloric materials, they can cool down or heat up.
How close are these technologies to matching traditional air conditioning?
That's the million-dollar question. Right now, most solid-state devices aren't as powerful as conventional vapor compression air conditioning. Elasticaloric prototypes, for example, have much lower cooling capacity than commercial AC. But there's real progress happening. A team led by Hong Kong researchers recently created an elasticaloric device that hit over 1,000 watts of cooling power for the first time.
So we're seeing the building blocks come together. What needs to happen for these technologies to really take off?
The key challenge is scaling up affordably. Right now, solid-state cooling is mainly deployed in wealthy countries. But the greatest demand for cooling is coming from places that need affordable solutions. As one expert put it, the question is whether these technologies can scale to be affordable for those who need them most.
It sounds like we're at an interesting inflection point. The technology is promising, but we need to solve the economics and scale.
Exactly. The efficiency and environmental benefits are clear. No toxic refrigerants, better energy efficiency, silent operation, and the ability to provide cooling on demand exactly where you need it. But making it accessible globally is the next big challenge.
This really drives home how innovation often happens in stages, doesn't it? First, you prove the science works, then you figure out how to make it practical and affordable.
That's a perfect way to put it. We're watching the future of cooling take shape in real time. These solid-state technologies could completely transform how we think about staying cool. But the real test will be making them work for everyone, not just early adopters with deep pockets.
So for our listeners thinking about this stuff, what's the key takeaway?
I'd say keep an eye on this space because change is coming. Whether you're an investor, an engineer, or just someone who cares about climate solutions, solid-state cooling represents a fundamental shift away from the refrigerant-based systems that have dominated for decades. The companies that figure out how to scale these technologies affordably could reshape a $250 billion market.
And that's exactly the kind of innovation story we love to follow here on Innovation Pulse. Thanks for walking us through this one, Yakov. To our listeners, stay cool out there, and thanks for tuning in. Until next time.
Catch you next episode, everyone. We've explored how the alarming rate of deforestation in tropical forests is primarily driven by fires, overshadowing agricultural land clearance, and how BYD's price cuts in China's new energy vehicle market are shaking up competition. Plus, the shift to solid-state cooling technologies promises a greener future with challenges in affordability and scalability. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends and colleagues so they can also stay updated on the latest news and gain powerful insights. Stay tuned for more updates.